So I just encourage you, if you're out there, mom and dad, and you're thinking, gosh, I really would like to set some like non-negotiable rules. Like these are just our rules. I suggest you sit down together and you plan it out. And then you think the long term, you think, can you change them? Sure, there's opportunity to change them. But in the season, these are our rules. And then you don't make anybody look bad. Mom or dad don't look bad. This is the family rules. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, guys, we're back. We're wrapping up a conversation about having conversations with our kids and prepping them and teaching them what to say in what might be a challenging situation from some other peers of theirs. And you were just talking about how we have, our kids, like when we have certain rules, which we have, things like we don't really do sleepovers, which is just a decision you and I made. It's almost like the upside to it is so small compared to what the negative potentially could happen that it just isn't worth us doing it, at all. And, you get the peer pressure, right? Because it's like, again, a lot of us grew up where it was like the cool thing that if you got to do a sleepover, it made your parents cool. They gave you freedom, and so sometimes we get a little bit of a sideways look when people hear that we don't do it. And, but again, it's our decision. So we just kind of stick by it. And we've, you and I have learned to not really care what other people think, to be honest with you. Doesn't mean it doesn't ever bother us a little bit, but we don't make these kind of decisions flippantly. We are constantly trying to create a new normal that works the best for our family in these crazy times, with our life, with our mission in our life, with who we are, right? And so because we put so much energy into intentionality, it's not challenging for us to stick to our guns. Just put it that way, right?
Yeah, I think, if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, well, how did they come up with this rule? You know what I mean? So when we first, started our family and then a question like a sleepover happened, I'm going to tell you what happened one time. We did it wrong once. That's what happened. Is one time we were out of town and a couple of my kids were invited to do a sleepover party at their little friend's house. And they were probably like, 6, 7 years old, something like that. They were young. We were out of town. I knew in my spirit, I should have followed my Holy Spirit prompting and said no, but I said yes to letting them go. And it wasn't just like I made this decision. I looked at you and you said, yeah, and we both said, yeah, it's okay. It's one night. It's fine. And then that night, I was out of town, which was not a good decision on my part at the time. A babysitter was home with the other kids. Half our kids were still home. The other half were going to to a sleepover thing. And one of my kids got sick while they were at the at the sleepover party. And I wasn't there to take care of all of it. And of course, then I get the kid home. I think we came home the next day, obviously we're here to talk about it. So it wasn't like
we all survived.
But I revamped and thought about this, and that happened with our first oldest. And we just came to the decision, this is not good. If they had been home, if they'd gotten sick, it would have been 10 times easier to manage. Number 2, they missed us in the middle of the night. Next thing I know, they're sleeping in bed with the mom and all this stuff. And this is not going well. Do you know what I mean? Because they weren't feeling good, and I'm just like, this turned out not to be a good idea at all. And we learned from it. Instead of keep trying the wrong stuff, we revamped and said, so what do we think about sleepovers? What's our thought process on this whole thing? Yeah. And you and I came to the decision, there's more negative, not just because somebody got sick, but just thinking about our own past sleepovers, more negative than positive that happens in those kind of things.
Right.
So then we came up with some non-negotiables in other areas, sleepovers or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And we came up with them and we talked about them. And we felt very confident in them. And then what we did is say this. So Greg, you don't need to check with me. I won't check with you. The answer is just no to this. So if somebody comes up to you and says, Mom and Dad, can I go do this? Even if Mom's not around, Dad knows the answer. It's not, let's talk to Mom about this and put Mom in a bad position, make her look bad. You know what I mean? Or, hey, it's not me. Hey, yeah, maybe Dad will let this happen this time. You know what I mean? It's, honey, that's just our family rules, and we're not doing that. And as they got older, we started explaining it to them why we put these family rules into place. And I think that's the whole thing, is that you can't over-explain everything to your kids when they're really small. You have to make the best decision with the information you have as the adult and the parent that's in a healthy position in life. Then as they got older, now our kids are 15, right? Like, they don't even want to do sleepovers. They're perfectly content with playing with their friend until whatever time that may be, and then going home and enjoying their own home, And so they're so thankful because they understood long term that it ended well for them, So I just encourage you, if you're out there, mom and dad, and you're thinking, gosh, I really would like to set some like non-negotiable rules. Like, these are just our rules, I suggest you sit down together and you plan it out. And then you think the long term, you think, can you change them? Sure, there's opportunity to change them. But in the season, these are our rules. And then you don't make anybody look bad. Mom or dad don't look bad. This is the family rules.
Right.
And there's so much peace in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. I love what you're saying. Because you're right. We have so much experience with this now. When it was just like the twins coming up, and then, of course, Chrissy after that, but they were all so small. And so a lot of our journey has been, okay, we know we have some normals built into us from when we were young. We're not fully sure that that's exactly the normal we want moving forward, right? So we're going to question them, but we're also somewhat experimenting, because there's no way to really prepare for every situation, everything going. You got a million, you're kind of managing so much that you don't even know what you're doing sometimes. And then you also have to prepare for situations. And so, a lot of what we're talking about has come through a combination of really working to gain wisdom, but also having experience, right? And so now we're so set in knowing what we need to do and not do, what's a good idea, what's not a good idea, but we didn't. So if there's some newer parents out there, I think everybody has to go through a level of this, right? But I will tell you, though, this is one, I'm so proud of some of the people that have actually hired us for coaching and stuff, and really want to invest into not only growth in other areas of their life, but in family, because they really have a desire to put some real intentionality into parenting. And, it's like I was having lunch with a great guy yesterday. He's 30 years old. I'm going to be 50 here in May. And we were talking about this exact concept. His daughter is 17 months, and he was describing what it's like in their household, because I was just asking questions, and how he has certain like shifts where he's in charge of watching her while his wife can do some work from home, and then they switch. And what he does, for like, he has like a 6-hour window, and he's like, for the 6-hour window, I don't really do anything else but this, nothing else but this. I'm like, oh, I bet you're exhausted. 17-month-old. He's like, yeah, I kind of am, and he was kind of like proud of himself about it. But then at the same time, he's like, yeah, well, why? Do you have some advice? And I started giving some advice about like what we learned how to do, and how we learned how to manage that scenario. But the point was, it came down to, he started just really asking a lot of great questions, because the reality is every 20 or 30 something needs a 40 or 50 something with some real wisdom, some real experience, some mistakes that they've learned from. And it'll save them 2 decades of having to make all the mistakes themselves. I feel like our culture in general does not value mentorship enough, right? First of all, when you find a mentor, make sure they have fruit on the tree, not just they have words that they say. But second of all, though, you have to pursue mentorship. Don't just wait for someone to show up, or don't hope that the situation in your life is perfect, that you grew up with the perfect parents who built all this stuff into you, because the reality is it probably didn't happen because they didn't have anybody do it for them. And so you have to pursue it. And but I love it, though, because when you were saying that when the kids are younger, you just lead. You don't explain necessarily, right? Because they don't even know how to interpret it. They're not developed enough to really understand the, experience and the complexities of situations. But as they get older, though, you made such a good point. We need to start telling them not only what, we got to tell them why.
Yes.
And you have to invest that energy into them. And now you're right. We're kind of in I feel like almost like a third phase now, especially with almost with all of our older 5, really, because Ellie has learned a ton by learning from the other kids too, but now they're in a phase where they kind of manage it. They've done it, they've lived it, they know why they've done it, and now they're like, I don't want to do it any different because I see the lack of results in other people's lives, or the lack of stability in their lives, or the things that they've had to endure. It's the kids who do sleepovers all the time and they watch crazy movies, and now they have all this weird stuff in their head and they don't know how to get it out, and they mimic it, and when our kids are asking, why does that person act like that? I'm like, well, they're probably emulating stuff they've seen, and they probably see often. And so it's just, I don't know. It's just really, really good information, really good stuff.
Yeah, it's important. It's important for husband and wives to get on the same page with it. I think that's the biggest key and takeaway from this whole thing is like, you're not going to be a perfect parent. Gosh, we make enough mistakes, to last a lifetime over here. But like what we do is we try. We try to improve on a regular basis, not just try and keep messing up, try and improve. And we're
do.
What?
You do.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You said it's what we do. That's a no, don't you know? No.
I don't even know where we're at.
Too serious for too long. I'm going to pull some jokes out here in a little bit. All right, keep going.
Where was I? I don't.
You were talking about do.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you did.
I for sure was not.
You're going to have to listen to this episode. This is a perfect example of when you say you don't do something. Well, we have it recorded this
Great.
time.
I'll listen to it.
Okay, good. I'll make sure I send it to you.
Please do.
Yeah, it's on all the
unedited version.
It's on all the main channels. I'll send you Apple or Spotify.
Yeah, you don't even know what channels it's on.
All right, so let's get back to the original topic here, which was, let's just kind of talk about this whole schedule thing a little bit and communication, right? Because that's where we were starting to go with the sports thing, and we got a little bit sidetracked with other good stuff. That's really good information, but we have chosen in this season of time, just because of where we are business wise, et cetera, that we've structured our life to be able to allow us the freedom to pretty much do sports from 3:00 on every day, and it was a strategic thing. We had to have a season where we couldn't do that because we were building things, and some of those things required evening time. And so for a number of years, a lot of our
do you have hiccups over there?
Yeah, kind of. And a lot of our years we didn't allow the kids to be in multiple sports because it just didn't fit. There's this balance of prioritization in our life, and again, as our kids get older, we explain this because they'd see their kids in every sport out there, and we'd be like, well, we're in a season for this or that, or maybe it was because of our travel schedule with living in 2 homes, etc. But now here we are, we rooted ourselves here, and so we can do it. And so now here it is. The floodgates have opened up a little bit, and now it's pretty much, okay, so as long as you and I can get to the places people need to be, now they get to play. So, when we look at it, it's like, what do we have? We have the 3, Drews, Ellie, Chrissy are all in middle school tennis right now. Twins are in high school tennis. Drews is also in flag football, which is tennis, by the way, is practice every night of the week, plus matches twice a week, which usually take 3 to 4 hours each time. Now there's a little bit of Saturday extra practice too, so it's like a 6-day a week kind of a thing, right? But they love it and they're enjoying it. Like, we're not trying to get them to go more; they want to go more, and they're having fun. And then you throw in with Drews, he has a 1 night a week practice plus a Friday night game. Now he has his basketball league starting next week, which is at least 1 night a week of practice, maybe a game once or twice a week. So we're going to be kind of juggling this kind of stuff. But we're just having a blast. We're just going to and from. But you and I have to get very much on the same page every single day, pretty much. Like, hey, you're taking them to here, you're taking them to here, I'm picking them up. Then I'm going to pick up his friend, and we're taking them to this. And it's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a full-time job. I'll tell you that much. It's I feel like we're Ubering it every which way.
Yeah, but we're having fun, and that's what matters the most. Now, with that though, we've also had, because we're allowing them to play so many sports, we also still, it doesn't mean the stuff in the house can all of a sudden not get done, right? And all of our kids function a little bit differently. We have our kids that like Chrissy is very much I would say a self organizer, where if she kind of just gets a routine, she knows you don't really have to remind her. She's just going to do it and then probably come and ask, what else can I do for you, right? I mean, she's pretty good about that. Drew's, on the other hand, he's pretty much likes to, he can, well, let's just say that when he sees a squirrel, he goes and chases it, right?
He's more of a fly by the seat of the pants type of person.
He'll literally be grabbing his stuff out of the car, walking into the garage. He'll see his little basketball hoop. We have like a sock basketball in there. He'll drop his stuff and he'll start shooting around. And then he'll see the ping pong table. Dad, let's play ping pong. And then we'll walk in the house and it's like, Drew, did you bring your stuff in? Oh, no, I forgot. And he still has a sock basketball in his pocket. And then when we get in, it's like, okay, he drops that stuff and he grabs, something to eat out of the cupboard. And then he sits down for a little bit and he's like, Dad, the Bucks are playing tonight. Oh my gosh, and we're sitting there like, okay, so
I'm sitting there. You're with him.
He is pretty influential on me. That's true.
You're such a joker. Oh, he learned it. You learned it from him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So up until having him, it was like you didn't do any of that stuff.
Well, I'm just saying. Okay. All right. We'll talk about it in the next episode. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.